Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, beginning at 1 p.m. Central Time, as I get to ride home with you in the afternoon. It's one of the best times of the day for me when I get to talk with you. And I'm so glad that we have this show because truth matters. You can find us on the radio at icradio.media, where we are Fox News affiliates. You can also find us on television, channel 182, Charter Communications, and Abundance Television, syndicated on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And don't forget the podcast on the Newscasters.com. Studio. So we got the person who heads this whole Newscasters studio up. Her name is Victoria Lee Scott. She's chiming in from California. So how are things going in California right now?
Horrible. Number one, there is no voting ID. Newsom, I mean, what can we say at this point, Donna? Seriously, I am so angry that I can't get angry. How can you have no voter ID at this particular time in our history? And that's what he's done. So they have flooded people all over. And, you know, and it's not just here. Any Democratic or sanctuary city has been loaded up, let's face it. But that's what California, we're facing a lot of fog in the morning, which is really, unusual as far as, let's talk weather-wise. I mean, I'm waking up and it's like pea soup here, which is very unusual, and we don't see the sun. It'll stay like this until at least 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So something is going on. And the same thing, too. I have family, brothers and sisters, all in Tampa. I have my father in North Carolina. This has been an incredible journey, just praying and trying to keep tabs on what they're doing. My brother has a big boat, which he was able to take out of the water and put up on the blocks in the marina. And then he bought a new house, which is very hurricane proof, but they did the best they could on buttoning everything up, and they took off to Jacksonville. So as of this morning, you know where we're at. This weather is, if we look back at Hawaii and we look back, there are some things, I'm sorry, Donna, but we really have to question here. I'm just a little girl trying to make it here in this world, and I'm sorry, but if I can see these things, there's got to be good guys out there that are seeing the same thing, but we're not hearing a word. Today, I just had to turn the TV off this morning because we had Mayorkas, Kamala, Biden, and they're all getting the update on what they're all doing for the people. And I'm like,
what are they doing? I'm not saying anything.
They're discussing. Oh, well, let's see, Mayorkas is out there sending, how many people are chipping in, and we've got thousands of gallons of water. And no. Why don't you answer the question, and somebody answer the question as to Gaston, North Carolina? Why Piedmont Lithium bought $1.8 billion in land, and underneath that land, we know there's resources under there. What better way than to have half it turned and taken away and doing what they're doing? I'm sorry, and people can call me whatever you want to call me, but you know what? My eyes are wide open, okay. And this is not my first run in a pumpkin patch.
I'm going to ask you about something. Okay, there's a friend of mine, and she's frequented on the Netcaster studio. Okay, frequently. Her name is Ann Eubank. This girl, she knows what she's talking about. She's been called the conspiracy theorist. Everything she has said since I've known her for 10 years has come to pass. I mean, she has. So she said, "Have you noticed? Have you been seeing the moon at night?" I said, "I haven't paid much attention." She said, "I want you to pay attention tonight." So I went outside last night and I couldn't find the moon. So I told Phil, I said, "Phil, something is, maybe it's me. And we don't live in a mountainous area. It's kind of a flat area. So you can't blame it on mountains. We're on top of the mountain. So there are no mountains to cover, the moon. And normally I could look out to the east and it'd be shining like beautiful. Now the stars were the most beautiful and magnificent I've ever seen them. The constellations were wonderful. It was beautiful, but where was the moon? I mean, she was right, because when she said she didn't, as a matter of fact, on the show yesterday, we were taping, and she said, have you been seeing the moon? And I said, what have you been smoking? And she said, there's not a moon out.
Well, we have a moon, but we have no stars.
We got plenty of stars.
We don't have any stars. We have no stars. No, there's no star but the moon. And the moon is like a really quarter sliver right now. But I see the moon. And like I was telling you earlier, I found it very interesting 2 nights ago because, you know, I have a big bay window and I like to sit there in the evening as the sun sets. It's gorgeous. The colors are like cotton candy. I love it. And I live across the street from the beach. Twice this week, I went to the beach to watch the sunset. And unfortunately, at one point, it had set and it got dark fast. And all of a sudden, Donna, my insides went, I don't belong here. I've got to get home. And that was a real awakening for me. Like, wait a minute. This just changed from the sunlight to the dark. I was like, I really felt like I had to run home. Like I was vulnerable out. It was terrible. But I do notice, and the other night, it was interesting because I looked at the moon, I made a conscious awareness, and there's like always one, I don't even know if it's a star. It's like a watcher, I call it. There's one bright one right there always. So I was looking at that the other night saying, you're the only one that's here. And I came back after making something to eat, which wasn't long. And it was like the moon was up in the sky. And the next thing I knew, the moon had fallen. I was like, how did the moon get from there to there? And then it was gone. And I was like, I have no idea what just happened. So I, like you, am also questioning what's happening in our skies.
I'm questioning what happened in Asheville with the hurricane. Now, we live in what we call Tornado Alley. I mean, tornadoes just spin off of nothing around here. But the thing I know about tornadoes is a tornado can weaken, but landmass makes it like huge, and it can cover like a mile easy, like super, super fast. But now our experience with hurricanes is we don't get them up in this neck of the woods because, okay, we have the coast of Mobile in lower Alabama, right there at the coast, what have you. Mostly what a hurricane will do is once it hits the land mass, it starts weakening. So the hurricane that actually went through to Asheville and just kind of sat on top of Asheville, North Carolina, was odd to me because they were showing it going through the Atlanta way. And Atlanta, I mean, they got some rough winds and what have you, and a few, buildings had damages, some roofs and that kind of thing. But how did it go another 2 hours and get stronger? I mean, how did that happen? And then just sat right on top.
Well, I think it's very interesting for you saying that because I had a video that was over 9 years ago. The video was made, and it was an interview such as on a news channel, such as you and I right now. 9 years ago, this wasn't internet stuff, correct? We couldn't do what you and I are sitting here doing right now 9 years ago. But this was a regular media interview. And it was an interview on how lasers can manipulate the weather. And it was a very in-depth interview that she had with these scientists, how they are able to manipulate weather through lasers. So you know what? I don't trust, I'm sorry. I don't trust our country anymore. There are good people doing good things. Do not get me wrong. But as a child, the pride and everything and the trust I had in my country protecting me is no longer in me as this woman right now today. When I am watching this illegitimate vice president, excuse me, these opinion, mine, when she's telling us that they are giving $157 billion to Lebanon for food, water, and shelter, and our country. Are you kidding? No, I have to make a decision and realize that these decisions I must make now must come from what I believe, who I am, what I bring to the table, and what I want to do at this point. Because right now, if we don't know who we are as an individual, life is going to get very hard when you start turning to those around you to come and protect you, because nobody is coming.
Because nobody is.
And I am not a conspiracy.
They say they are. They love the little folks. They love them. Let me just mention one other thing. There was a time when someone could have said the weather can be manipulated. I would have went wacko, and I would have just like walked away quietly, hoping the person wouldn't harm me. Okay, there was a time, but I believe it now. And let me tell you another reason. I thought of this. So we bought the farm my granddad had bought back in the 1930s. Mm-hmm. And I remember a time my uncle was in FHA, FFA, Future Farmers of America. It was a club they had in the high school. And so he wanted to plant a bunch of pine trees. It was just something they were doing in the 1960s. And my granddad didn't really want to do it, but he kind of wanted to help the cause and help the kids and that kind of thing. So they planted, I think, about 50 trees, on one of the acres right here. And it was really wooded. And my grandmother complained about it all the time. And she always said, you know something, Scott, ever since those trees have been planted, I don't feel the coolness on the front porch anymore. So I don't feel that. And I thought, planting a tree, that makes sense. And then she said, I've had enough of it. I want it. I want the trees gone. She said, first of all, we could have a tornado and every pine tree would be on top of this house. So a lot of expense. My granddad had all the trees cut down to please my grandmother. And it was so funny. You could feel the coolness on the front porch again. So that's when I discovered, you know what? I think the weather can be manipulated from the land just by planting something, putting a building up. You know, when you're downtown, okay, I could go say to New York. It's always hot there because of all the concrete. You know, all country does it. But here we're out in the country, and we don't have that much concrete here, and that's why you can feel a nice breeze every once in a while.
Yeah. You know what I found the most interesting in all of this, with the devastation that's going on? Most interesting thing I found is that for volunteers to help their neighbors, they are having them. You need a permit to be a volunteer to go in and help. What are we doing? You need a permit to volunteer to help? No, this administration, look at it. It is doing nothing. Yes, too little, too late. I don't understand why Mayorkas has the nerve to get on and tell us that FEMA has no money for the hurricanes for this year. Like,
are you giving it away to everybody else? Yeah, this is another thing.
You want to go out, but when you want to go and help your neighbor, they want you to have
we're made to do that. But let me mention this. Now, this is not some weird story I saw on social media. Okay. This is a real thing, a real human being. As a matter of fact, Philip Gilliland, who is with the American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches, was really upset last Monday. And so they collect money, they collect gift cards, they collect all kinds of things to give to the hurricane victims. First stop was in Tennessee. And the FEMA people were confiscating the water, the canned foods. They were confiscating all this stuff. And the churches were wanting to help. I mean, that's what the churches do. That's what they do in our neck of the woods anyway. So they were out there, you know, taking time off from work, whatever, to help these hurricane victims. It was being confiscated. Well, they have a sheriff who's a good old boy, kind of my kind of a guy. And so the sheriff, he stopped it. He said, no, the churches are going to get through with their stuff. Stop confiscating. I don't know how he didn't handle this, but he made it work. But the people in Asheville are not getting the stuff they need.
Donna, did you see the video of the people that collected all of the goods and had them sectioned out and piled up? And the FEMA helicopter came in and it hovered until it destroyed all of the collections and then went up and took off. I have the actual video from people sending to me to the news company. The actual video watching and saying, what was that? Everything was organized, ready to be delivered. And the helicopter came in and whirly everything and destroyed all of the no. Do you understand? It's like we're coming to
this is critical right here. This is a critical issue right here. It needs to be fixed like now.
Why we're having this interruption. When you leave people no more outs, the only thing, once they cut off power here and there, you're going to find them in the streets. And that's exactly what they want. It's exactly what they want. Because then you can enact. And then the control can take hold. They have put everything. People don't realize. I have been out at that port and I have been videoing and posting and putting everything in this news company as far as what is really going on. And we are going to see what's going on. And it's like, you know what? It's like the Wizzy of Oz in the book. That's exactly what I call Obama. If you remember, the Wizzy of Oz. That was Obama. It's like, look over here. Don't look what's going on. Now, why? Of course they're going to cause all this chaos because this is the most important election in our American history. And they are going to use anything and everything.
It is. And the whole idea is to create chaos, not just with this event that just happened with the hurricane.
I'm sorry. Never let a good go to waste.
Yeah. That's their motto. That's what they live by. But let me mention this to you. Okay, so they've been trying to do race wars forever. I mean, okay, they wanted to pit the blacks people and the white people against each other. Well, they didn't stop there. Now it's Hispanics against blacks. And now it's your people that, I mean, these people are coming in across the border. I mean, your Haitians against now the Latinos. I mean, it's what they're doing. And it's not just 4 groups. I mean, they're trying to pit everybody against each other, and it's not going to work with me.
No, they can't do white and blacks anymore. They played that out. Number 1. Number 2, of course they're going to use the migrants and the Mexicans and the Haitians now against the blacks. Number 1.
Okay. No, she's on her cell phone. So sometimes she's in on this.
In my time, I have watched a black president not once, but twice. I have watched Supreme Court justices, police departments, firemen. There isn't anything today that I can do that a black person can't do as far as limitations. We've done that. But what's happened, because the truth is starting to come out, and what's happening with our blacks is they've earned their right in America today. Maybe back when they was, I don't know. I'm not going back there. I am saying in my lifetime, they have earned their place in this country. Whether it is a newscaster, whether it is a fireman, whether there is a nurse, a doctor, or a congressman. They have. Now,
her phone must be ringing. Wanted to mention
away from them. And that's where they're going. That's where they're starting the race war. Because by all rights, let's face it, our black Americans have earned their place throughout this country here in America, as far as I'm concerned. And that's where I stand. That's me personally. But now they know that they can't fight you and I, our generation, because we were the generation that said, no, come on. No, come on. Yeah, we did. How do you think they've risen to where they are? Because they've earned it.
But there are so many different little wars, though, that are going on. It's not only race, it's other things, too. So,
it's
I mean,
anything and everything.
If you can just cause chaos, well, then you got it going on. But let me ask you about this, and we'll move on to something else. Let's get back to this hurricane. Do you think they bit off more than they can chew? Do you think this whole idea is going to back? Do you think this is going to work? Because I know too many conservatives, and I know too many people who are not conservatives who were kind of on the.
But you know what? I think at this time, I'll be really honest with you. Whatever they're doing, the game isn't fair. And as long as the game isn't fair, what do? but they don't play fair. It's not like we have an even playing field here. It's not like we have a fair shot. We don't. We really don't. And that's what's really scary to me, is they can throw Kamala out there and let her do whatever they're doing. Do you know why? Because they know there's a bigger plan coming that's going to lock it in for them. And right now, they are just biding out time right now. That is all they're doing. That's why they waited to this perfect time to send her out there now. No. They have everything in plan. And if the American people don't think that, then you're a fool. Because we can see clearly that the lines have been divided. Gosh, what do you not understand about fundamental?
So I don't know if you can hear me. When your phone rings, I think it's causing you to kind of have a delay right there.
Yeah, you better keep cutting us out.
Okay. No, I think it must be the phone, whatever. But let me ask you another question. And this pertains, you have been talking for months about an October surprise. You have been saying this. Is the hurricane the October surprise, or is there something else?
No, there's more coming. There's more. This is just the beginning of muddying the waters for chaos. This is just the beginning. They still got too much time left. They're not going to make it too crazy too fast yet, because they want the American people to boil over when the outnumbers in this country show that Donald Trump should be our rightful president. Then is when the pot's going to boil over.
Well, this is what I find interesting. I don't know if you can hear me at this point because you're kind of frozen there. Okay.
That's my personal feeling here.
Well, I think you got the right feeling. So let me ask you a question. Okay. No doubt. I think Trump won the last time as well. But okay, I would think that before the night is over on election night, Trump's going to be way up there. I'm going to say 70% or possibly even more. Now, early morning hours is going to change, and we all know this.
And we're all staying up. We ain't going to sleep at 4 o'clock in the morning like let's remember, from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. is when it all occurred. Okay? So I would say, that we have got to vote in overwhelming numbers is the way that we can make a case. It has to be a total blowout, which is, I think there are many Americans that realize just by looking at their own lives that no, things haven't gotten better. And no, they don't trust Kamala and Joe Biden. No, they don't trust this administration or what plans and the lack of plans they're giving them. So my point is I just don't see how in a fair game that it is, there's something coming, and I can still feel it. And I don't even think we've seen the backlash from what's happening in all these weather patterns to begin with either. I think there's even more to come. It's anything to take the eye off the ball, anything to divert our attention, anything to cripple this country, whether we like it or not, to cripple this country. It's about time America wakes up. I'm a small business owner for going on 30 years, and I can tell you, I've had a man who
I think we're just about ready.
This world don't want to hear what I have to say. I'm not kidding. We, as the American people, need to wake up and unite together, and that's why the Newscaster studio was designed. You and I, people in our generation, we've lived an incredible life. We've watched with this country because we were the last generation that really had pride in this country. Our grandparents really had the pride in this country, but they're not here anymore. It is up to us. I was reading scripture the other day, and it was very interesting because I was in one of Paul's letters. I don't have to go into detail, but I was in one of Paul's letters, and it was very interesting to me in his letters what he was writing. He was reaching out and tearing at my heartstrings, saying, the first time that much from the past, But this was something that really showed how evil the world has always been, and where it is for me. It just made it really clear, that to me. And that's what's important, that we understand that we have to listen to what we stand for. And I've been saying this for years, that you've got to ask yourself, how do I feel about gay rights? How do I feel about transgender? And you don't have to tell anybody or discuss it with anybody but yourself. And when you do, and you answer your own questions, you as an individual become stronger as to what you believe in. There are so many people, and we are told during these times there are going to be wars and rumors of wars. We're going to be told that, no, it's over here, the answer. No, look over there. We're going to be running. No, it's right here. It's right inside of us each. And we have to join together with strong minds and strong voices, because you know what, Donna? This country has fallen asleep. And we did just like the Roman Empire. They built those big Colosseums, and the betting and the wine and the killings and the betting, all of that was no different than of today, what we do. And what happened at that time? While they were all loving it and enjoying it, the bad guys came in and destroyed what was once.
They caught them asleep is what happened. When you're in war of any kind, you don't want the enemy to catch you asleep, because that's when you're going to lose. Absolutely. And America's asleep right now. We've got fat, we've got sassy, we've got lazy. And COVID accelerated that.
And so, uneducated. We got an uneducated generation coming up, Donna. Uneducated in our country's history. And when you fail to learn your history, what do they say? You're destined to repeat it.
Absolutely. We're going to have to, can you believe half the show is over? Okay, we're going to have to go into a commercial break, and we shall return in just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there, okay? Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters, even if it hurts. Ouch. And I'm going to tell you what, I've got Victoria Lee Scott with me right now. Victoria Lee Scott. So the Newscaster studio is growing like gangbusters. What are you doing? How are you making this happen?
Well, here's one of the differences that we do have, and where you and I are very blessed. We are able to have people on, and we don't just give them a 1 or 2 minute spot. We are able to have people on. We're able to discuss with more than one person, with just one-on-one or adding other people. We're able to dig deeper into issues. We're able to expose, what's going on. Everybody's just getting the fluff and moving on with one sentence, and there they think they have the whole picture. But the Newscaster studio is able to give platforms and channels to individuals who really want to share their strength, their hope, and their knowledge. I mean, our generation, Donna, we took such pride in our country. We really did. And now it's like we got to fight. Why am I feel guilty if I want to wear a shirt that had, you know what I'm saying? I shouldn't. And it's so interesting because I was just telling my 27-year-old daughter, I said, do you realize that there has been no better time in American history where your generation can dress and act the way they want? I said, it might not be acceptable and people might laugh at you, don't get me wrong. But if you want to walk out there doing whatever you're doing, there has been no better time in American history that you can say or do what you're doing. But the problem is we're allowing everybody to have little pieces, and what that's doing, it is shredding us. It is shredding us, and it is dividing us. And we have been told this, as you and I know. United we will stand, divided we will fall. I mean, how can you, serious? And you say that to a person under 20 right now, and they have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, and that's one of our biggest problems, is that the education system, as far as what it takes to have this country, and now we are allowing others from around the world. If everybody would just take a look back here, Miss Vice President, when you first came in, you should have, you took care of our borders. You went to South America and made deals all over South America. That's what she did. If everybody will go back and look at her going to Venezuela and to the rest of them, why was she she was going there to set up the pathways for exactly what happened. And we are fools if we do not dig deeper and try to find answers to these things. We have allowed the media to suppress and to control what we can or cannot think about. This company was built to change that. We have a right to our opinion, the First Amendment. If we lose the First Amendment, we might as well throw the Second Amendment away, because the First Amendment was there so we could have the Second Amendment. Mm-hmm. And the Second Amendment is there to protect the First Amendment.
On down the chain. Absolutely. Okay, I have a question. I know you don't.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I know you watched the debate.
Yes.
I know what the answer is going to be, but in your opinion, who won the debate between JD and Waltz?
Okay. First off, let's start off right here.
I wanted to get you started. Already started.
Well, it's really simple, and I don't even have to go crazy about it, because the man, I choose to call him AWOLs, number one. Number two, the man brings nothing to the table. I don't care how he talks about his state. You peel that curtain back and you start looking at what he's done to that state, and it's not going to be a pretty sight, okay? America, wake up. Second of all, as far as the debate goes, I really went in to give him a chance to let him talk to me as an American, to hear what he had to say. Within 30 seconds of him talking, he went after Donald Trump. I'm sorry. In 30,
You could tell by his mannerisms. Okay, so there was this. Okay, when I was in the corporate world, there was a PAR training. It's called PAR training. And in this PAR training, they taught you how to read people just by their mannerisms. They did not have to say a word. Okay, he was moving really quick. He was shuffling papers. He was looking down. He would look at Trump. I mean, not Trump, but JD. He was so nervous.
Distracted.
He was like a first grader the first time having to get up in front of the classroom. That's what he acted like.
So let me laugh and give you a little joke here. So I'm with my girls watching the debate, and she kept saying every time they went to dance, one girl kept saying, "My God, I can't." Every time they put to him, his eyes, his mouth, he reminds me of a frog. And she kept calling him a frog through the whole thing. 3/4 of the way into the debate, Waltz turns around and says, "I feel like a frog in a boiling pot." We almost all fell on the floor. How she was sitting here calling him that through the whole debate. And then when he said that, you can't argue with stupid. You know what I'm saying? It shows itself.
He was calling himself stupid about the lie.
Knucklehead. Do we want a vice president who considers himself to just be a knucklehead?
He's stupid. Okay, we can't have that. First of all, what's her name as president would be a total drawback. But to have those two together would be, we would be in World War III in no time. I can't believe we're not already. And this is another thing. I am so tired of hearing people talk about, well, Trump wants to be a dictator. Well, didn't he have 4 years to be one?
Where is that coming? That is so wrong. If I hear them one more time with that dictator BS, I am over the moon. It aggravates me. Let me. Let's go back to that, to the North Carolina.
Okay.
So Dr. Phil was on Instagram putting up, saying how he was there and what he and the tragedy and this and that. And I put up a post, and I put up, of course, with Piedmont Lithium, and I got so much backlash. Then I went back in on the post and I said, it's not what Dr. Phil is doing. That is a blessing. Thank you. I was commenting on why Dr. Phil has to do what he's doing. And all of a sudden, Donna, I got hundreds of comments that just changed. I wasn't condemning what he was doing. That was a blessing. What I was condemning is why he has to do it. Why will these people not look any further than their nose? That's the scary part. And that's my point here. My point is that nobody's looking to see. Nobody's searching. Nobody's researching. Nobody's finding answers. You know, and I said this a long time ago, when we have people in Congress and they're getting no answers, they're being stonewalled in Congress, whether it's the IRS, the CIA, or whoever they are, then what I would be doing at that point, when they can't, I don't have an answer. Well, I want, who do you answer to? I want the name. Who's your boss? Who's your boss? Okay. And then I would subpoena the boss. The boss doesn't have any answers. I would stop everything and say, okay, who's your boss? Who do you answer to? And I would go all the way down the damn line until somebody took responsibility for the decisions being made. And I wouldn't stop. I would pull every one of them and say, you have no answers for me? Who do you answer to? And I would go right up the line. I bet you we'd find out a lot of information if we did things that way.
If people just open their eyeballs, and we were talking about sanctuary cities in the first part of the show, and and we're talking about like Chicago, New York, where your neck of the woods is. You guys are all sanctuary cities. It's never been in small towns before, but it is now. And people they've waited too late, I'm afraid, because little town of Albertville, Alabama, they're little pockets of people who are coming in to Alabama, of all places. And they're taking over towns. They're taking it over. And this is what happens. And you know this, you and I are Jesus followers. I'm not a religious person. I just love Jesus. That's the way I am. But here's what the city council members are doing. The city council members are trying to make the citizens. By the way, you're elected to be city council member to protect who? The citizens in your town, right?
Right.
Well, that's not who they're protecting. All they're saying is, well, Jesus loves everybody. Jesus loves Yes, Jesus does love everybody, even you stupid fool. Because what you're doing is you're letting your town go to the pits. That's what you're doing. But I think they're making money. That's the only reason I can think of that you would be okay with all this takeover. And they're not living in the streets like the rest of us are. They're living in their little gated areas, what have you. And so it doesn't matter to them what happens to the little fella. But people,
the little fella's like me. As soon as the sun goes down, I feel like I have to run home. That's what happens to the little fellow. Like we can't even enjoy an evening walk on the beach. And as soon as it said, I made a conscious awareness to say, oh my gosh, I am full of fear right now. It is only 10 minutes after 7. The sun set 3 minutes ago.
That's very unusual in your neck of the woods.
Extremely.
Especially, we're still in the summer months, basically.
But I was meant to feel that, to see it, not necessarily for myself, but what other people are doing. You know what I'm saying? If I'm feeling that, I can imagine the person who doesn't have the knowledge or what I have. You know what I'm saying? And how much fear that must create in them. And that's my point here, is if I'm feeling like this and I have a good God conscience, what is happening to the small little person who's just trying to live their little life? I mean, and that's what's so scary, is that we have divided this country so much that the only way that we are going to survive, if we realize that and we start uniting again together. And we have to pick and choose who we're going to unite with. Scripture tells us, Donna, the word of the Lord tells us that we must be, you don't yoke yourself with unbelievers. There are those that will never see the world the way you and I see it. And that's okay. Because you know what? As far as my God goes, you can either choose to like him, but the good thing about it is you can choose to not even acknowledge him. That's what's so cool about my God.
Okay, this other thing in just, causing chaos and division and what have you, there was a time that maybe I could go to a candy shop. Well,
right.
They may sell me a piece of candy and it may be something I really don't like. I would eat it, and then I'd go on to something else. I wouldn't go make a big, huge ordeal out of it, and start showing out and, and yelling and screaming. But now you can give somebody the wrong piece of candy and they go to pieces. So why can't people just, okay, I don't like what you do. Fine. That's you. Why can't you just go, I respect you, I'm out of here. Just go somewhere else. Do you have to close the store down and shut it down?
Yeah, because we haven't equipped them emotionally inside of themselves. So therefore, they have to go to extremes in order for they themselves to feel done. We've done this. I'm
not into rap music. Okay, so I'm in the car and I just have, I'm going to change stations because I'm going out of town, so I can't play my radio station. So anyway, I'm going out of town and I hear rap music. Well, I'm not going to sit there and yell at the radio in my car or whatever. I'll just change it. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and yell and scream and carry on.
But that's what they do. But you just nailed it. Every ding ding went off in my head when you said that. Because right now, I've owned my salon and I've watched my clientele age. And it's just what you said. I am watching people, instead of just changing things,
move on.
They would rather get themselves in a frenzy, angry, slander, curse. And it's like, wait a minute, you have a choice here. Change it. Don't listen to it.
Your way. Have it your way. Just move on.
But they don't. They have to take it to the extreme. And I've noticed the same exact thing. Nothing is petty anymore. Even here in the...
She's right on about that. I bet she has a phone call coming in. But
these are showing up. You know what I'm saying? It's unnecessary. There is so much that I see that's unnecessary. But I've learned we have forgotten how to talk to one another. And that's because society has pitted us against each other. Society has done that.
You know something? I used to have a store in a mall, And I had sold our cell phone stores, and I thought, well, we're going to retire. Well, we were at each other's throats all the time, feeling I cannot retire. It's just impossible. So I started a little store at a mall, and it was really interesting. There was a guy, his store was he was right by mine, and he sold ice cream. Well, he was a Muslim. And so what he would do is he would pray now I'm going to tell you what those Muslims believe in praying. They do a lot more than we do. So he was praying all the time. So one of my customers was in the store, and he said, if I were you, every time he goes in there and he starts praying, I'd be slamming my doors. I'd be doing, and I said, I'm not going to do that. That's his thing. I'm never going to lead the guy to become a Christian if I'm going to do stuff like that. That would just be insanity. So this is what the Muslim guy started doing. And it was a shock to me, because all you're hearing on the news media is how Muslims hate Christians, how Christians hate Muslims. And there are extremists who are that way, but not everybody. So what happened is it was Christmas. It was Christmas season. And so he walked into my store because I was nice to him, because I was kind to him, because I didn't slam doors at him. He got the point. He knew I was a Christian. So anyway, he comes into the store and he said, "Merry Christmas to you." Well, that shocked me to death. I mean, I was just like, and I said, "Thank you." I just think of as thank you. Something that I've done in my little mind that I chose not to argue with the guy, slam and just slaying snot all over the place. Just pass and repass with him. I would gently open the door and gently close it, because I'm thinking if I do that for him, he's going to do the same thing for me. And he did. So from that point on, any Christian holiday, he would come to my store and say, "Happy Easter to you." And his smile would go back to his store, and I would,
you gotta love it.
Thank you. So I've often wondered, because I did that, I'll never know until we die. Because I didn't fight with him and just be an imbecile about his being a Muslim, maybe he became a Christian. Because I'm going to tell you, if you're trying to get me to walk across the road and you're yelling and screaming at me to yell across the road, I'm not going to walk across the road. But if you say it in a gentle manner, if you say something, Donna, I think you might benefit from walking across the road, I may walk across the road. I mean, I may do it. It's just the way people are approached these days. And like you said, in a fighting manner, why do we have to do that?
And it's bad. And look out in fast food restaurants and markets and parking lots. I mean, the anger is really, I mean, I've actually stepped away from a few friends who have aged a little bit, and I'm like, I'm going to choose when I want to be around you. I'm serious. I can't deal with angry people. I just don't want to. I don't have to. And it's like, I understand you got a problem, but I'm just going to limit my time. And I am. I just limit my time.
I always say I'm going to give you some space.
There you go.
So think about this. Okay, so let's just say I'm a Martian. I've just landed on Earth, and I saw the debate between JD and Waltz. And I really don't know these two. I have no clue what a Democrat or Republican is. Okay, I've been living under a rock the past 30 years, but I've evolved. I've come out of under the rock. Okay, I'm going to choose JD. And the reason I'm going to choose JD is because of the way he handled himself during that debate. I didn't see any anger in him. And he was being fact-checked when we're not supposed to be doing it, by the way.
100%.
It become unglued when they continue. You got two crazy loudmouthed women against you, and then you got your opponent as well. It's a 3-against-1 again.
And they cut they cut his mic, and they weren't supposed to do that either.
He could have.
He made quite a few good points. He made quite a few good points. And let me tell you, one of my biggest points and one of my biggest angers about this country is we're sitting here with abortion rights. And I understand. Okay. I understand it. I've been there, done that. I've lived it. I know what I'm talking about here. Okay. As a woman, but I will be damned if this country is fighting for the unborn. I want to know, as JD Vance said, where are the 300,000 children that our child protective services have misplaced?
Spot on.
I don't care right now about the unborn. I want to know where those children have gone. We are not talking about 1,000, 2,000 children. We are talking about, J.D. Vance said it, and then it just went by.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know, when is somebody going to say, what are they doing to our children? Where are our babies? And I don't want to talk abortion until somebody in this country answers me. Where are those children going? Where have they gone?
Donald Trump has said, if your state wants to do it, well, then go for it. That's basically what he has said.
And that's exactly where it should be.
Well,
if you want to go live in that state and go protect their laws and their rules, but it should be. It's not a federal mandate. It belongs right where it is with the states. Go live in a state that wants to do what you want to do.
It's like this. I really don't care for McDonald's hamburgers. I just really don't. I'm not going to go show out, go to McDonald's and carry on and stomp and carry.
And I'm not going to eat a burger and then complain about it.
No, I move on. I go somewhere else. That's all we have to do in this country. If you don't like it, go somewhere else.
But the problem is they're not telling us what they're doing. And that's what's so infuriating. We know one side. And that's what, I've written a book with Lawrence because this country has been raised on one side of American history. And now we're trying to even a playing field when two generations know nothing about what you and I are talking about their civil rights, about the Constitution, about the Bill of Rights. They don't know these things.
Yeah, but this is the thing. If you go against somebody's rights, then somebody else is not going to have rights. So everybody has issues. Everybody is okay. I would eat chocolate all day long. I would get as big as the side of a house. I'd be sick. I'd wind up with a heart attack. Okay. You have to know what limits are. And that's another thing. We don't know what limits are. We just keep doing what we want to do.
Well, we're going to know what limits are when this administration, God forbid, gets in office. We're going to know what limits are. Trust me, we're going to know what limits are. And that's when the anger, and that's the part of our history that my heart cries for today. My heart cries for, what length do we have to go to, America, for you to realize that we have to stand up and fight for what we have. Right now, everybody is so happy with spending money and letting somebody else do the fight. Well, you know what? By doing it that way, we've let a lot of bad guys in. We've allowed this country to be corrupted at the mayoral level, whether we like it or not. And when people start taking to the streets, we are not going to have the mayoral protection that is needed to control what is coming. And I don't care what anybody wants to label me as or cause me as. I have been writing all of this stuff and talking about all of this stuff since the early 2000s. I started writing a book in 2004.
Victoria, let's pretend you are a mayor at a small town. And somehow you're probably making money off of the Haitians coming in and other illegals. So you're making money off of it. And you're thinking, well, you know, it's going to go, I'm making a little money, so no big deal. Okay. It's going to keep happening. It's going to go over and over and over again. And let me just say this. This is just common logic. This is common horse sense, which most people don't have anymore. Okay, so I'm the mayor. I'm sitting fat and I'm getting, all this money coming into me. And I'm not living with everybody else, okay? I'm a little higher up there somewhere else, living in my little gates and all this kind of stuff. Okay, it's just going to be a matter of time, just a little bit of timing. And you're wanting to run for re-election? The Haitians are not going to vote for you. What's going to happen is they're going to have their own little Haitian person coming in who's going to be the mayor instead of you.
How do you think we got the Muslims in Congress to lead? Oh, I say, really? Have we not learned anything?
Have not learned a thing.
We have not learned a thing. That's right. And what's going to happen? We are going to repeat history, and I hate to see it. And I'm not sitting here on a conspiracy theorist. I wish we could save. I wish more people would wake up. I wish more people would take pride in the country.
It was a conspiracy. I really wish it was.
And then prove me wrong. And prove me wrong.
Please let me be wrong. I want to be wrong about this. Okay, so let me ask you another question. Okay, so you're the mayor and everything's coming in and what have you, and you have absolutely no control whatsoever. Now, I'm not only talking to the mayor, I'm talking about the city council members as well. Okay, you're probably not going to be reelected. So that little money that you're making as being a city council member, that's going to go away, all because you didn't choose to help the people who are citizens in your little town.
Right. And you know what? When we elect these officials, there is an oath that they take.
Supposed to.
And there comes a point in time where we have to realize, you're talking about that mayor. Okay. The problem is we have put people of the world in positions that should be people of God in those positions. It's the way I feel about it. We are letting worldly people, which it doesn't matter. It's just, it is for instant gratification. That's it. We'll deal about that later. We'll print money. We'll lock them down. We'll do this. And we'll worry about it all later.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're not realizing. Everything is instant. Instant everything can be delivered within minutes to your door. Anything. And that's probably where the breakdown is, because we put people in positions that don't belong in that mayoral position. But then the city councils, we're watching city councils across this country. People are going to their city councils and filming them. And city councils, when they have no answers, just like Kareem, our press secretary, when you have no answers, thank you, everybody. Goodbye. Thank you, everybody. We're done here. No, we're not done here. And that's my point, is they keep fueling the fire. They haven't lit the match yet, but they keep dousing it and dousing it. And that bonfire is very big. And I've been talking about this. And every time they keep doing stuff like what you're talking about, all they're doing is taking a nice fluid absorbed log and throwing it on the fire. Sooner or later, that match is going to be lit. And America's.
Let me ask you a question. All this stuff, we've got about a minute left in this segment. All this stuff happening, don't you feel like it's going to backfire against the Democrats?
100%. 100%. And you know what I fear? If they realize that it's backfiring, they'll shut down our power grid. They'll teach America a lesson. They will go to any lengths. Hear me, America. To any lengths. I do not put anything past those powers of control that be, whoever they may be. They're not backing down and they're not changing. They are right on schedule with their plan. Does this country not realize it? They're right on their schedule, not on ours.
All right, Victoria, real quick, let's talk one more minute. Let's talk about the Newscaster Studio, someone who has a burning desire to get their name out, get their word out, their cause out. How can they get in contact with you?
Well, the Newscaster Studio, first go to the Newscaster.
I'll help her finish that out. Go to the newscasters.com and you're going to find all kinds of wonderful information. You'll be able to get in contact with Victoria. Okay, Victoria, you kind of froze, so I'll let you go ahead and continue.
Okay. Yeah, Victoria at the newscasters.com. Go to the Newscasters, look at the channels, even Donna's channel doing phenomenal. We need to unite together. We're on each other's shows. We're welcoming new channels. If you've got something to say and you've got, you've got a radio, a cell phone, you also can have your channel. And it is revenue based, but we need to unite together, because united we stand, divided we fall. And we are very, very, very at a crucial time in American history. United we must stand. Thank you, Donna.
Thank you so much for being with me. It's always an honor. Thank you again so much. Okay. Hang around. So I'm going to get you scheduled for next month. And thank you guys so much for watching. You're the reason we do all of this. And thank you again so much for the emails. Donna at donnasedge.com. You take care. I hope you have a super duper awesome rest of the day, sunshine.